Yeah, obviously we're pleased to come out with 2 wins. Both could have gone the other direction. I thought the Marquette match was a great match all the way through, and in fact, um, our I thought we played pretty well in 1 and 2. Marquette just played a little bit better. We didn't see some opportunities. Then I thought we were able to flip the script a little bit. 3, 4, and 5 just being a little bit cleaner, especially in transition. Um, DePaul, I thought, played a great match against us. I thought we had opportunities to go up 2-0 and didn't seize those opportunities and then got a little rattled. And DePaul sees that. So fortunate to sneak out with a win on that and rebound and play a good fourth and fifth set. And now we hit the road for 2 weeks. So it's round 2. We're starting to match at teams that we've already played once. So we'll dive into film to see how they've changed. And it's always harder to play on the road, so we got to be ready to go.
Yeah, Kiana got Defensive Player of the Week in the Big East, and it just I don't not to say that her contributions, whether it was blocking or hitting, were like unnoticeable before, but it seemed like every time you guys needed something, she came up with a kill on the slide or got a block, or
Yeah.
all weekend it seemed like she was always there to make a big play. Like, did you notice that she's kind of stepping up in big moments more often?
Well, I'm stoked for Kiana because we met with her in our blocking. Our blocking numbers have not been great, and we've really taught. Kiana's fast, but sometimes she doesn't close. Like she'll dive with her hands as compared to get her body there. And so some of it was just film and discussing with her because we know physically she can do it. And then she worked hard to really work. You're much stronger if the block's here as compared to diving at it. And man, it showed the benefits of that this weekend. It was really exciting to see how well she blocked, and it'll be huge for her confidence. But I think that's both her and Kiara working their tail off to close blocks. And then offensively, I think the last few weeks she's struggled a little bit with confidence, and we spent a lot of time last week just kind of going back to basics, and she was a different kid. Like her arm speed was faster than it's been, and so it's a good reminder as coaches that confidence is king. So how do we make players confident out there? Because she played confident and she was great.
Sunday, the Marquette match bleed into Sunday. Are they totally separate things? I mean, you have this huge match, and then you got DePaul coming in. Did that play any factor in the way that you guys performed?
I said this yesterday. It shouldn't. I mean, that's what I mean. That's not an excuse. I mean, first of all, we had a day off. Second of all, they know. I mean, from going into the weekend, we said DePaul was the biggest match of the weekend. So if it did, it's unexcusable from a coaching perspective and a playing perspective. We got to be better next time. Where the learning. The learning experience is that, again, every team in the Big East is good. So just what someone looks like on paper, we're going to get everyone's best shot. And so we have to anticipate that every single time we get on the court, and we have to perform. I always think at high school, sometimes some teams are the discrepancy in high school is huge, right? In some different teams, but in Division I college athletics, everyone's good. So you have to be ready to play every single night.
Churn here, but you guys do not just physical training, but you guys do visualization training and kind of like simulating moments in your mind so that you can put yourself into a certain level of focus when it's time to execute. How much do you think that has elevated your level of play, especially when the pressure is as high as it's going to get? When you're in that moment and you know that you have to play error-free volleyball at this point, that it comes to fruition.
Yeah, we try to train the mind a lot, and I think a lot of it in those end game situations is managing the stress of it. So if you feel your heart rate going to a high level, what are some methods that you can do to bring it back down? So those are the things that we spend a lot of time on, because it's easy to be great when you're up 20-10, but how are you going to perform at 24 all? So, I mean, this, but I'm a big believer in we have to train the mind. I mean, our sports psychiatrist loves to ask the question, what percent of the game is mental? And people might say, 15%. And then he'll say at 25, 24, what percent of the game is mental? And most kids will say, 90% is mental. Okay, what are you doing to train that? Well, nothing, so that's a big part of who we are as a program, and just trying to manage those emotions. A lot of times in a 10-point scale, you might perform your best at 6, 7, 8. Well, if you're at a 10, how do you get back in? If you're at a 4, how do you get back up? All those things I think are trainable.
Challenges of going on the road, is that helpful? Is it bonding, the whole thing, or is it just, obviously you'd rather play at home, but what's the challenge coming up?
It's always fun to go on the road. And fortunately, we're chartering more this year, so we'll charter this trip, which will be great. So that helps with not missing as much class, and obviously all these kids are academic kids, so that adds some stress to them. I think it's easier on the body, not having legs and things along those lines. So, but it's interesting to me that a lot of the Big East schools play better at home. Not just sometimes they're totally different teams. Like they can come here and fold. And then some teams play really well here. I thought DePaul rose to the occasion yesterday. But Georgetown, when they came here, really struggled, But I think they'll be a different team. And Nova always is a different team at home than they are when they come here. So we've got to be ready to go. But, yeah, it's always fun to travel with this group. They all like each other a lot. And D.C. is my favorite Big East city to go to, so that'll be fun.
Do you chuckle a little bit? Because Nora has said it multiple times this year when we've asked her, you played well in this stretch of time. What happened? And she always says, I just got mad. Do you kind of chuckle at that? That's kind of what takes her to a different, puts her in the zone, just getting angry about whatever mistake she's thinking about or whatever is on her mind in terms of why she's not playing well?
I think it's more of we can't see it on her face. When she said I got mad yesterday, I was like, okay, some kids visually you can see on their affect how they're feeling, but so now the question is how do I make her mad, right? So I think the thing that impresses me about Nora compared to last year is, last year, she was very steady, but if she had a rough match, I didn't necessarily see her work herself out of it. She'd maybe regroup by the next match. This year, I've been able on multiple occasions see her maybe not perform well at one point in the game, and then in several occasions kind of take over at the end. She carried a lot of load last night. I remember that against UNO. So I think that shows some real mental growth that she can flip a script during a match, which is a hard challenge to do.
She won the Freshman of the Week award. Was this what you thought she would be, or is she further ahead on the scale here at this point of her career?
I don't know if I ever, when freshmen come in, it's always a little bit of we'll see. I knew she was good. We knew she had a hammer for an arm. And sometimes you can get a little idea how they'll do when they come to camp, and our players are kind of immersed in there and see how they compete at this level. So I knew that she'd be in the mix of players, but so much of it also is, can they do it night in and night out? Can they pass? Are they confident enough? Do they come in thinking I should play, or do they think, I should be on the bench this year? That's always interesting. So I can't say I'm shocked, but I didn't come in with expectations that she would be doing what she's doing, but I'm not totally surprised. We knew she was a very good player when we recruited her.
It's hard to make an impact. As a freshman, she's done it. That's pretty impressive.
Well, and she's earned it. It wasn't a situation you figure, gosh, it was really during the non-con when she got the start and go on the outside. So that's been fun to see. And her progression, she's talked about this a lot. Early, she hit hard down every single time, and that came back in her face pretty quickly as she saw the blocks at this level. But she was able to make that adjustment pretty quick. She had another ball yesterday, trap set, huge block in front of her. She didn't get the kill, but she went high. It was a ball that a lot of people would get blocked on, and she was able to create off of it. So that's been kind of fun to see her develop and grow even in this short amount of time. And her blocking has continued to get better each week. Her passing numbers are good. So, it'll be fun to kind of watch her trajectory.
You guys have had a chance, in a few matches to kind of mix and match on the fly, throw in different players, and kind of just see how they respond to things. Probably more so than I can remember in recent years. Why do you think, this team in particular has kind of, even the players that maybe don't think they're going to be in the top 6 that day, have stayed locked in and have kind of consistently been ready when you've called their number and performed for you?
Yeah, I mean, again, more depth in positions. But this also leads to challenges. Sometimes I always say that the hardest role on a team is the kid that's kind of in and out some. Starting is easy. I don't play much is not easy, but you get to a point that you resign yourself to that to a degree. Okay, this is the rule. But the ones that are in and out, that's hard. And that's what I'm impressed with this group. And I never want to take away that it is hard. Like, we have conversations with players and, what can I do to be on the court? Well, there's multiple people in your position that are all playing great. Be ready when your number's called. I mean, Jazz and Keely are a perfect example. They are both awesome, right? And so they are in the same slot because we think that's the best lineup right now. And it is challenging them both. They're both of their mental resiliency to be ready to go when that number is called. And they've both handled it like champs. And, I hope that they can continue to do it. It really is, again, a selfless thing to be able to say, okay, I'm going to be on the bench right now, but if I get my opportunity, I'm going to impact the team. And if I have to go back to the bench, I'm still going to be a great teammate. These are not easy asks of these players. And that's what I think is special about this group is there is a feel amongst these 18 women of I'll do whatever is asked. Another example, Ellie Bolton didn't start on Friday. And I had texted with her after she got informed we were going to start with Ava in the back row because we thought we needed offense. I mean, we explained why. And I said, I know this is hard. And she said, it is hard, but I get it. And I will be a great teammate and I'll be ready to go. And when she got the call in that match, she made a huge impact. So I think these are great. It's easy to be a great teammate when things are going your way. We say this all the time, but the great ones are people that can handle the resiliency and be ready to go. Even when things aren't exactly playing out as they dreamed it. Thanks, guys.